y'all, and happy Saturday. So we are back for week 19, and I'm excited about the next few weeks as we move through our journaling, because we're also going to start adding a project in with the art journaling. I figure you guys have been at this now. We're going into our 5th month, and I know you're starting to get the practice under your belt. Your books are getting really nice and chunky like mine, and we're just really getting a lot accomplished. So let's start working with how we'll begin to work some of our ideas into another project. And in this case, it's going to be like a book structure. You guys know how much I love books, and I think if you're hanging around with me, you must love books as well. So I'll tell you what our prompt is, and then I'll show you a little bit of what I did last week in my journal with travel destinations, and then the rest of everything about the book I'll talk about when we get down to the table. So we will be using, we're going to make a book that's going to sort of have a cover like this, or any sort of cover, and we'll talk about that not so much this week, but in the next week or so. But you want to kind of just decide on your size. I've gone with a size that's going to be approximately, it's about 5.5. I think this one is about 5.5 by 6. So it's going to be a little shorter than the actual folded page, but I like that. I want to kind of push and pull using less of the image. Also maybe taking some of the image and folding it up and then making pockets with it. There's a lot that we can do. So that's my size, but you can make it any size you want. And we'll, as I said, as we go along, we'll talk about it more. This month's printables, the link is below the video in the description section. And this is the one where I've already made things, the images already, excuse me, are in halves. So it's already ready to go into page format. But of course, you can use your prints. You can do this yourself, set it up so that it works as a book structure. And then in the pack, there's 4 sheets. And we'll get into this deeper when we get to the table, but there's 4 sheets of different types of lines and different patterns in them. And they can be used to double print on the back, so that when you print your pages out, you have stuff that are already going to be on the back of your pages. So we'll get into it deeper, but I just wanted to show you that. And of course, as always, the pack is $6, and everything that I'll be using in this project, I'll be using that pack, and I'll be using last month's pack. But you can use anything you want. You don't have to even use my printables. You can use all of your own sheets. It's just, that's how I set it up, just to make it fun and easy, and for us to have a similar project that we're working on, so that at the end, when you post everything over in Facebook and stuff, we can always like see. It always amazes me how you guys can take my printables and make them look completely different than when I do them, and I just love to see that. So anyway, but this week's prompt is conversations with your younger self. So that's kind of like the loosey-goosey title of this book project. It's all about the conversations we would have with our younger self, from the perspective and the advantage that we are at this point in our life. It's a wonderful time to project to also put some of the literary inspiration that we've had, travel inspiration. Moving forward, we're going to have some other literary themes that are going to fit in with the journal. So it'll all be about our art mythos, telling our stories visually, right? So it's going to be an integration of image and language. But for us to have language, you have to have thoughts, right? So I've thought, how cool would it be to just think about having conversations with our younger self? So if you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be? Or 2 or 3, in my case. Journal about it. Where am I? I'm sorry. Okay, journal about it. Okay. Time is really flying as we work together on this Art Mythos journal. So, you know, and it's hard to believe we're coming up on, wow, we're in our 5th month, right? So this is a good place to have a lot of introspection. You know, once again, think about how far we've come and the various aspects of ourselves that have been revealed. So I also like to look back over the years and look far and wide across the spectrum of my life, reviewing the ways of my past and comparing them to my current ways. What oftentimes will come up for me are the things that I know now that I would tell my younger me. Surprisingly, these are also the things that I could benefit from hearing from the current me. If you're anything like me, it's some of this stuff I can keep on saying to myself just to keep myself on track. So generally our habits don't fall far from us. And if these habits get a bit in our way, then, we must, with conscious intention, push them so far. So what I'm saying here is sometimes we have things that we don't really want to look at, right? And we just kind of push them away so that they're no longer in our sight path, right? We're not even dealing with them. And what it does allow, a lot of times we do this because it just frees us up to be able just to deal with what we're dealing with daily. But at the same time, it's really cool to give ourselves permission sometime to go back and look at everything, things that worked really well, things that if you had a little bit more information about, you would have done differently. I know there's certain technology, just certain modalities or certain things that I've learned. I'm like, wow, if I had known that 20 years ago. Like, for instance, I just went through and did the human design course. And boy, what I learned about myself that I didn't know about me, well, was amazing. And so, like, being able to have had that information 20 years ago would have just been beautiful. So, yeah. So in the case of our journaling, this daily, weekly ritual of journaling is also exercising a muscle, right? One of consistency with our work, showing up in a regular manner and pushing ourselves into a space where we just develop this consistency around our art. And that's why we're sitting here having this conversation with this chunky book, and we're just, going into our 5th month of the year. So that's like another sort of habit, that we're developing. And it also, in this process, is allowing us to really explore more of what we like, what we don't like, and take the things that we don't like and use them to our advantage when we need to, right? Like forbidden colors. And it's so self-actuating to explore so much of the things that we enjoy, the things we're passionate about. It's just so freeing to explore them this way through our art, through storytelling, through our own journaling time, and having this dialogue and this push and pull with ourselves. So I just invite you to really create freely this month. I mean, this month, yeah, because this whole month is going to be about book too. So we're going to be pushing another project out. But as always this week, and just think about just having a dialogue, like, just sort of pretend that the younger you is sitting here in the studio as you're working. And as thoughts come up, just dialogue with that younger you, and just see what comes up and see how that, may free you or allow you to explore your work. And maybe the you that's sitting there that can be a little critical, a little tight with your work, will see that younger self and remember how you just used to scribble all over the place and paint with wild abandon and just run and play. And that's a beautiful way, just in the memory of that, to free ourselves. So that's our prompt for the week, is conversation with our younger self. And this idea is going to work out in the book project that we are going to be exploring this month. So more to come on that. Let me flip some pages here, show you what I did, show you what I used. This past weekend, I went over to Palm Springs for my birthday. And so it was perfect that it happened just to work out with travel destinations, because I haven't really been a lot of places with the whole COVID this past year. And so one of the things I like to do before I flip the pages, and we talked a little bit about this, but I like to just pick up all these little travel things, like all this kind of stuff, these little cards. They're already, a hard card stock, and you can turn them into like postcards or flips in your journal. And so you can buy postcards, but I love using these kinds of things so much because they just are ready to go. And I'll show you how I use one in my journal. All this stuff is free. This is all the stuff you pick up in the hotel, right? All the telling you the places to go. But there's a lot of really good pictures and words. You know, Palm Spring Canyons. I could use that in my journal to track where I've been. So I also pick up these notepads because when you're in the hotel, if you're journaling while you're on the road, these are great to glue to the back of the, like a postcard thing like this that you make, and then it becomes a place to write as well. And this goes in the journal. You have these city guide, you know, type of things, entertainment, these little newspapers. All this stuff is great to pick up because it's going to have the name of the place there. It's going to have some of the activities that you're going to do while you're there because they're advertising them. So just wanted to show you that so that you could sort of see. And from those, this is what I did. So I created this page, The Art of Tranquility. And this is the desert. This is one of the sort of arboretum type of places that I visited. And just the art of tranquility. Oh my goodness, this is what our journal is about, right? And then the wildflower was another word grouping that came out of the free spirit. I mean, free people, free spirit too. And I just thought that worked really well there. And it kind of pulled some of the similar text in to this page spread to make it go nicely. I went over to Palm Springs because every year they have this thing called Desert X, where they have art installations out in the desert, and they're all scattered all over the place. So you really need a car to go see all of them. So we did that. And here again, I continued to use color on my pages, but I use the Arteza watercolors, the metallics. I just love the shimmer that you get from them. So I use that. And these are some of the installations that I visited, like right here, Palm Springs Life. That was actually, I took it off the top of here from one of the, you know, cards for subscription to the magazine. But that happened to work, and I like the colors and everything. So don't, you know, everything is fair game. Of course, I went to the Palm Springs Art Museum, so I put that, some more desert. And I left places to write, to add also. We took a lot of pictures, some really kind of arty type of pictures. This is my youngest daughter. She's a really good photographer, so she took some incredible kind of pictures. So when those develop, when I get a chance to print those out, some of those I'm going to cut myself out and insert them into the pages in certain places, or you can write here. Here's one of those cards, these postcards that I did. So this, I think I got double so I could show you guys. Here it is, I think. So this is what the card looked like. And I really like that part of it, so I cut that part off. This right here, I covered up with another piece that I got out that said May 21. So for 2021, I mean, and May was a month that I went. So I made this into a flip using just some masking tape. I like masking tape because when you put it down, it's really strong, but you can see through. So made this a flip, put some paper on the back, and then I came across a write-up for Desert X. So I decided to put that there so that I can remember, you know, what they were saying about this year's Desert X and the websites there if I want to kind of, you know, look things up. Also, this is a map. And on the map, they have a lot of different places, but they also have places for where the different installations were that I visited. So I thought that was really cool to put down because it sort of shows, you know, where I went. And so maps are always nice to include in your journals. And then this right here was one of my favorite ones. It was Indian land, but it was side by side. It wasn't broken up like this, but I couldn't get the whole thing on the page, so I just kind of ripped it and put this down there like that. But I just thought that that was really graphic, and these letters were, I think, 42 feet high, and of course they mimic Hollywood sign. So there we have it. Those are my pages. I thought I would just, you know, show you guys what I did, and it turns out that I actually had gone away. It's really funny, the synchronicity of the travel destinations, and that was the weekend that I happened to have some place that I was going. So there we have it. All right, so down to the table. Let's get started on this week's journaling pages, conversations with our younger self, and our project. So there's a lot that's going to be packed in to the video today. So if you want to stop it, go get yourself some tea or coffee or whatever. Maybe look at some of your supplies and just jump into it, because we're going to have a lot that we're going to cover, because we're going to start kind of doing a couple things together in every week. Alrighty, take care. See you in a minute. So we are back on the table now, and lots going on here. So let me see how organized I am to get all of what we're going to be doing over the next several weeks, probably maybe the next 6 weeks, in a way that'll make sense to everyone. Okay, so as we're thinking about conversations with our younger self, what a perfect time to work with a book and create a book structure that a lot of what we're going to be doing over the next few weeks can work into the book structure. And as always, we know that we will be doing a lot of the same exact things in our journal. So whether or not we get to the journal page, we'll see, because I really want to get this out. And I do believe that you'll be you've been working your journal enough now to know how to transfer some of these into your journal pages, while at the same time you're playing with ideas and working on this structure. But I will, let me just have my journal here open, because I want to move forward in a way that we can put something on there. Okay. Alrighty. So as you know, this, as we talked about a little bit last month, and so last month's printables are going to dovetail with this month's printables. And the way I did them this month is I already kind of created them so that they would be like book pages. They already are designed to, let me show you, to fold and be in the right orientation. Okay. Now, of course, this is just a jumping off point. I want you to use your own things in them. If you decide you want to get the printables and sort of work these images, but then really make them your own, I invite you to. They're always just, $6, as you guys already know. Many of you get them monthly. And, but what we're going to do is not only, so they're already oriented like this, but of course you could use your own Gelli prints, all your own stuff, and orient them so that they're in a page format like this. And then what we're going to do is in this, so let me just do a really quick flip. So these are the images. This one I kept as a full because it's just such a really nice blossom, like, so this bloom, that it works either side. And I just kind of, and sometimes I like this as a middle page so that there's like a full image, so you can do it different ways. But these are all set up. And you can push and pull this palette. It's very earthy, but we're going to be working with some bright colors, and you'll be able to see, you can kind of just, have at it. It's just a good base to work up from. Okay, so those are the images. And then you'll get 4 pages that are just these yummy kinds of gridded papers that I stained. And just try to get some interesting staining, but yet it still can be used for writing, for journaling, because the idea of this journal would be nice to put some of the writing, some of the literary inspiration that we're doing, conversations with our younger self. How cool would it be just to kind of create this sort of book as art around some of more of the thought-provoking and more emotional kinds of things that we might like to document. So what we're doing with these pages is a few things. One of them is that I'm suggesting that you print through your printer twice so that you can have your images on the front, and then once you do that, you can run it through and put these different kinds of images on the back. So that's one there, and this is the same page. I did it twice so you guys can see different things, and this is that on the back. So I used 2 different ones, and so you can kind of mix them up. And what's nice about it is it gives you like writing space, but you can still collage on it. It's really, this is one of the ways I like to journal, so that I have space on the back of the page, and it's not just white, and it's just not stained, you know. The other thing is that you can run it through twice and then also get the gridding on top. So you see this one is on top, and this one is just the way it's going to come printed out. So I'll show you the similars. And I like doing that because it just also gives an extra bit of texture. So this is the one that I ran through. So once I printed this, I ran it through again and put this on, and it printed this on top. And I like that because what it does, it begins to make the prints harmonize with all of the lines that are on the other side. So it doesn't seem like you just printed out, you know, these images and then you printed this on the back. You know, like they really begin to integrate. So you can see how if this page is folded here, let's just go ahead and fold this one. And this one is folded there. You can begin to see how the pages will work together. Like you could even do them inside out. So when you put it together, it could be something like this if you want a couple writing spaces, or you want a collage on top of this with some writing. And then when you're turning the pages, you know, you're getting some kind of like consistency and design and pattern. And so you can mix and match them all. So that's one of the ways I would suggest when you print them out, really just have a play with working with these as elements of design. We've dealt with that, so this is going to give a lot of push and pull and texture and things like that. Okay, so those are the printables. But before we actually get into, and we'll be working with these over the next month for sure, and moving into the next month, we should be able to get through this in 4 weeks, but if not, it may spill over a little bit, but it's all good. And then the ones from last month are designed to work together. So that gives you a lot of extra patterns and, you know, textures that can work together. So it's a lot of variation. So let's put these right here for right now. What I'm also going to work with is I wanted to create, because we want a collage, so I wanted to create things that would create a texture on tissue paper, because we got this tissue paper, let's keep on using it, and build up so that we can collage on top of our papers. And we're going to use all different types of things, from antique papers to you know, your jelly prints, things like that. But we want to kind of build up this surface so that we can really, you know, just have a lot of fun with it. So one of the first ways I thought would be fun for us to experiment with is working with some of the texture pastes. And I love these spray dyes. You guys know that. You all have bought them before, so let's keep on using stuff that we've been purchasing so that we can, you know, like, use it up. I've already gone through, I mean, I'm done with these. I'm on to my second of these, and I think my licorice as well. I've just used those a lot. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you, let me just, okay, put that over there right now. And then I need to show you the book structure. So in this technique, where we're going to be putting some of these different pastes down and just playing with them and seeing the ones we like. And I've already done some here so you guys can sort of see the direction we're going in. I'll show you how I did them. But I like doing them on the tissue paper. I also end up with a lot of waste paper because when I go to clean my plates, I just clean it on empty, on blank copier paper, and you can see, I don't know if you can see it on there, but this, it's, even when you clean it, it's a little bit of texture still on there. So I don't throw these away. I use these. And one of the ways I use them is, in this case, I took this image that we have in our pack. And I actually ran through one that I had cleaned, because you can see there's a little bit of texture there. It's real thin. I'll show you how I did this. And I just really would clean it on copier paper. And then I ran this through, because it's not much dimension there, and print it this way. And then on the back, I had another one, not this one exactly. I think it's a gold one. Where is it? This one. And I printed it on the back and then ran the paper through. So it just starts, you start just building up pattern and stuff, you know, to add into your pages so that you can make your book as thick as you'd like. And this is another one where I ran it through and then printed them out. And I kind of changed the orientation of the text. So some of it's going, you know, like in the direction of the page, and some of it is going kind of across the page just to give interest to it. So I use everything. So all of these I'll send through the printer and print on top of them so that I end up with things like this. So there's texture there, but it's going to go into, I go to fold it. It's going to go into this really nicely. See, that already just works so nice. And it just gives us lots of things to play with. Okay, so I wanted to show you all of that. And I will be duplicating this so that you can see it. And this is the book structure that I want us to do. So this is the soft cover, just using like a cardstock of it. And this is the hardcovers. And I thought, let's do the hardcovers, because you can just get an old book. If you don't have any old books, just go to the Dollar Tree or to the, you know, to the Goodwill or somewhere like that, and just grab an old book off the shelf that is the size of your folded pages. And it doesn't have to be exact. I kind of like my things overhanging, but you know, it's your choice. And then we're going to actually put these hardboards on our pages. And we're going to do this stuff. I call it a hidden hinge. Well, that's what it's called. I mean, in the 80s when we were doing this, it's sort of like a hidden hinge concept, but it's using masking tape. And we'll get all these pages in the book that way. Okay, so I'll show. It's a really easy structure to put together, but we don't have to really worry about putting it together until we've done all of our pages. So this is a 3-part one. So yeah, I've got a lot of pages in here. And then I just took some old book pages and glued them on the back of this one and in the front. So we could do that. You could do some of the prints on the inside cover. So we'll get to that, but I want to show you what the book looks like. This will be a really fun structure. It's so easy to do this, and we don't have to worry about putting it together until the end, but I wanted you guys to get an idea of where I'm suggesting we are going to go. So that's all good with you. Let's get started with making, and I was making these, I mean, I had to make myself stop. First of all, I was trying different colors that I don't normally use, but I wanted to see what the colors did, because like for instance, this one, it was a brighter pink, but then I sprayed it with the licorice, and like just, this is going to be so cool. Like, you know, when I tear it out, gluing it over something like this, because it picks up the pinky tone that's in there. So we're just going to really start building these pages up with a lot of stuff. And I just want to give you all fun things to do during the week while you're not journaling, to start making lots of different papers and stuff that you can use in. So let's get started. Alrighty. So I've already kind of put my notes on what I'm putting down. So this is Seth Apter's textures, and you know, we worked with some of his, no, we actually worked with Tim Holtz's textures, didn't we, with the spray inks. Well, you know, Seth had, I looked on his site, he has some too, so I thought, let's try these. Sandy texture. So this is Sandy. These are new. These actually just came out. So, And you guys know that I'm on Seth's creative team. I don't know. I know I've said it before, but so I'm always excited when new things come out, because I really like these products. This company is Aladdin out of France, and they really, I just feel like it's just a really top quality product. The other things that we've been using, so I'm excited. I was excited to try these. So this is Crackle. This is Flaky, and I would suggest lay your palette out like I'm doing. Even if you're using glass or something, just use a marker and put down. So when you're working, if you're working with different ones, you can remember. At least I need to remember. Maybe you guys can keep up with it. And that was Flaky, and these are beads. I really like that Flaky one too. Oh my goodness. The beads, I was like, oh, okay, you know, I've seen the beads before, and I was like, okay with them. Until I actually, and I know I was doing these, I was thinking, oh, I want to tell them which ones I really like. This is the beaded one, and I was just like, okay with it, until I sprayed it. Then I fell in love with it, because the ink really caught down in all those little beaded areas, and my goodness. Plus, it's not like even beaded all over, so I liked how it, I think because of the way I put it through the stencil. So you'll see what I'm doing. So I used some stencils for those. And I used, a lot of you guys have, a lot of you all, I know, I try not to say guys, because some people don't care. And some people are like, I do care for my guy. So then I try to say Gaias, for Gaia, for the planet mother. But anyway, you guys know, you know where my heart is. So a lot of you already have these stencils, so I thought we would play with the stencils as well. And I'm working on a new set that's coming out. Lots of sort of universal circle images and stuff. I'm excited about those. And those of you who took my Hearth Codes course, a lot that we did in there for our scrolls, those are going to be into stencils. So, so we'll be using these as well. So let's get started. Okay, I want to work with, I liked this beige. This beige is really nice. So I'll put the beige here. And let's go with honey. Love honey. I'll put that into the sandy. And let's get into the flaky. Let's use sunflower. And let's go with, I did like that pink. So the pink that I used was, which one was it? I really liked this Wild Rose. Looks bright, but it actually, okay. So let's start with the beige. So I'm just using a palette knife just to kind of get it mixed in there. And we'll just create a few of these pages so that you can see how I did them. And then we'll go, it takes, I mean, you know, you can dry them with your heat tool or, you know, let them air dry. So it takes a minute. So once I make these, I'll put them to the side, but we'll have others to work with. And the main thing is to go ahead and get your pages printed out or set your book. If you want to do your own, then set it up similar to what I just showed you. And then like the extra, you know, I don't waste anything. So I just take all the extra and wipe it off on, you know, a scrap paper, because we can run these through the printer. And all this becomes extra goodies. Okay. So we'll go on to the sandy. This one was, what was this one? I think this one was honey. And the sandy is a really fine texture, so it's not too, you know, too much. just kind of spread it out on your page because you're going to be running it through the printer. So, but it just, the texture is just so cool. Okay, so let's go with honey. I mean, this is sunflower. And this is the flaky. I really like this flaky. The mica in it is just too cool. And these are really easy to work with. And what I like about all the Seth things is that they are designed to be colored. Where a lot of these pastes and stuff don't take, you have to paint over them or something like that. They don't necessarily take color well. But his really take the color nicely. So I like that. Okay. So just kind of clean your thing off on the paper. And then just make sure that you spread it out. So, and then these are the beads, and this is in the rose. Such a nice pink. It's like really a quiet kind of pink. Okay, so let's take this one so we can kind of, so I'm gonna get a clean, now this is the archival, this is our archival paper, tissue paper that we had gotten. Okay. So let me get some more. I just use copier paper for my scrap paper. Okay. So using one of the stencils, let's use this one. Just kind of get an amount and just kind of gently fill in the areas of the stencil. It's nice because you can kind of get the tip of the palette knife down into the areas of the stencil to fill it in. Okay, that's one. You kind of want to hold the tissue paper down a bit so that you can remove it. So I'll put, oh, why is it sticking there? It's weird. Okay, let's put that there. And then the way I start getting all that secondary stuff is I then just kind of move it into the middle there, and then I get a I just get a baby wipe. Mine are a little dried out, but even when they're not, I just like to put a little alcohol on it because I find that the alcohol just helps to move the color off of the stencil more easily, and it kind of does this sort of smearing thing or something that alcohol does that I really like. So you can clean it, and then you get this real subtle image as well. See, so you get this secondary image that is good. So we'll build some of these up because that's what I did. Let me show you. So this one that I ran through, that's how I did this one, the same exact way. And so when it dries, you just have a little bit of dimension, not a lot, and then you can run it through your printer. So you just get all this extra stuff going on. I gotta remember to turn some of them this way too. Okay, so let's finish these beads. So the other thing that I'll do is, when there's just a little bit left, I'm just sort of, smearing it on the tissue paper so that we just have more color, just more tissue that'll have pattern and stuff on it that we can tear up, and we can spray dye these as well. Some neat stuff happens. So let's put this down and let it dry, and we will go to the next one. So let's go to the flaky. Let's do the flaky. So I need another piece of tissue here. I just take the tissue that we're using, I just take it and I could actually tear this in half because I'm doing smaller sections, but I just take and cut it in half, and then you can tear it again if you need to. Okay. So let's get the other one that I was using. I have them laying over here, so these are some of the... Let's go with this one. We're going to use the flaky on this. Okay. And this stuff stays open a good period of time as well, I noticed. In working with it, I didn't have to work really quickly. You could really set all your colors up like we've done. And it really does give you enough time to, excuse me, work your images. And, you know, actually work with it. So you can set it up on your palette, and you don't have to worry about whether or not it's going to dry up too quickly. So that's another nice thing about it. Sorry, I don't know why. I got a little tickle there. Put that there. So same thing. I like to clean my stencils right away, but just go ahead and some of it I just kind of get wiped off the plate into the stencil. Sometimes there's enough on there that you actually can make another. I'm on camera. Okay, good. I have a long desk here, and sometimes I get going and I'm like all off screen. So good. So just kind of use the point of the palette knife, and you get a really nice image there. That's good. And so let me just put this down here, and we'll just go ahead and finish cleaning it off. So we'll get a little yellow here. And also the alcohol is just really brilliant at cleaning the stencil. And this will just make a subtle pattern because there's not a lot left on here, but why clean it off on something and not use it? See, so you still get, you get some more there. So just clean your stencils off on the paper. And because I put all of these gridded papers and stuff in this month's paper pack, this is good stuff to be able to, you know, make some really unusual papers that can just kind of go into our journal. Our conversations with our younger self. That's the theme of our journal, because some of the stuff that we're still going to be moving forward on over the next few weeks will just be perfect to put in, to consider in the journal. So see, we have some more, but you can see the flakes in it. It's really nice. And when it dries, it really dries up nicely. So we want all of this paper right here to be able to use as collage paper. Okay, so let's just clean this off. Also, having the alcohol on here really does help to clean off palette knife better. Okay, how are we looking with time? Wow, okay, we've already gotten a half an hour under our belts. So let's keep on going. Okay, so now let's do the crackle. And the crackle, when I did it with the stencil, with my stencil, I really liked it. So, put it down like that. And then just, you know, picking some up. Just kind of slide it right down. It really goes into this stencil nicely. And because there's some dimension in the with this paste in the tissue paper, it kind of, when it dries, it crinkles up. It makes some really neat texture. And then you have that extra dimension, which is really cool for, you know, collaging into our on the pages of this journal. Okay, so let's keep on going. I just kind of go until it runs out. And even if it, you know, runs out and some of it's missing, it's okay. And just come back over the stencil and just scrape some of that extra off, because we're going to be cleaning it off anyhow. So you might as well scrape it off and get it into the grooves of the stencil. Okay, so perfect. Oh, I love it. So see, we get a really nice print there, and it's just, when it dries, it's so good. Here's the pink one. I'll show you it again. See how it just will start crinkling up? It just really gives nice texture, but of course when we go to glue it down, the glue is going to pull it out, but I just think it just makes some really nice texture. So that's exciting. Now let's go ahead. I'm going to put some more alcohol and a clean sheet here, and then let's just clean this off. So that's how I did some of those other ones that I said, you know, these off sheets that I put through the copier. This is how. And it's funny because you're cleaning off your stencil, but as you rub over, and with the alcohol, it just makes it so much easier. And the alcohol dries quickly, so it's not making your paper really wet. Like if you were doing this with water or something, it just, it puts too much moisture in that takes forever to dry, and then it's, I don't know, something about the alcohol that really does transfer sort of a stained type of image really nicely that I like. So this is how I clean my stencils. And there's so much extra on here, you can actually go over and hit some of the ones that you hadn't even done and get a full page, because oh, Aston's out there trying to get someone's attention to go out and hang out. Okay, so see, and what's nice about it is some of the old paint that was on here comes off and it kind of gets mixed in. So you kind of get this little color variation, and you get this sort of bleeding. I like that bleeding. So that is how I made. I'm really trying to stay organized here so I can find all the things I showed you guys. Here they are. So this is how I made this one, like, okay, same concept. And then this one is what I took and made a photocopy of. So this is the photocopy of this one, right? using this exact same technique. So it has a little bit of dimension. You can feel a little bit of it. And then running our papers through from the kit, you know, any page, then you get this overlay. So you can make photocopies of this. You can, and sort of do it this way. You can run these through the printer as they are, and you'll get the textured dimension. So before you actually use the textural ones, I would say at least make a photo image of it so that you'll have a photo image that you can kind of repeat it, or, you know, whatever. It just gives you a lot of variation. Okay. And if those of you who don't have a photocopier, just just take everything and take it over to Kinko's or Office Depot or someplace like that. And, you know, they have those self-service machines. You can do it there. And honestly, they're really not that expensive comparatively for what you get. And then also, for those of you who don't have a printer, you can always just send my paper packs over to Kinko's or whatever, and they'll print them for you. So, you know, not having a copier won't stop you. Okay, so then the last thing, let's get another sheet. And I know some of us had gotten, see how these are still, it's amazing how this is still open. Some of us had gotten these, the Seth After stencils. And the words ones are like, I love these words with all of this extra stuff, because you can just take bits and pieces of it like we've done before. So this one is Story. So let's grab that. We're going to do that one with the Sandy. Oh, I think I messed this one up a bit because I let the palette knife went underneath it. Doesn't look too bad. So I like that. I like Story. And then this one, this is a good one because it also has the end on it. How cool would that be to put on the last page of the book? Let's just get some of this texture. I like that out of one stencil you can get so many different patterns, and you can use this so many ways. I think that's a smart way to design a stencil. In fact, the new stencils that I'm designing, I've done a similar thing where I have one overall stencil that just has a lot of pattern and texture and stuff that will work with, that sort of repeats some of the symbols that are on the individual stencils. So yeah. So scrape it good just to really get a thin layer. I like that X there too. Okay, see, that's really cool. So you could do a lot of these. I mean, you know, you can see we can go in a lot of different directions. And this is the Sandy. This is really neat. It gives a nice bit of texture. So all these bits and pieces we're going to be using. Put that down there so it can dry. So let's put this aside. You just clean it off. And let's get to playing with some of this in our journal. We just clean this off. So once again, just use your baby wipe with the alcohol on it. Really cleans it off good, and you get that extra bit of information that we can collage with. Okay. See? Let me just get the back because I had Got a little bit on the back there. Okay, but you can see what we have here. Here again, this is what we can just run right through. Copier with some of the lined paper and all that stuff, good stuff is extra. Alrighty. So the links for everything will be below. Let's grab our page and let's see, what will we do? Oh, I know what I need to show you guys also. Let's show you how those sprays work. How I did this. I'm telling you, the sprays are good. So I thought we would just, on this one, let's use the gold. So we can come back with, oh no, let's do this one. I wanted to see it on the letter, on the scripting. So basically you just want to kind of spray. Use your hands, you can use a tissue. Just kind of move it around. Boy, this is so nice. Ugh. I'm going to get some of the pearl down as well. So that way we can, you know, get rid of just all the white that's there of the tissue paper. So when we start working with this, so you can see, well, you know, it'll look better when we dry it, but gosh, that looks good. And then I'm going to just up in this corner, let's just go ahead and get, now this is over the crackle. So this pink originally here was the crackle. Let me put, just looking for something to use as a block. I don't have something to use as a block. I'll just use this. I don't mind a little bit of overspray, but I might have to spray this a couple. I'll just use my jelly plate. Just trying to have something that blocks it from there. And then just using oh, this pink really pops with this wow, look at that. With the licorice. Oh gosh. That's good. So at least I didn't get a lot over there. Okay. So now that really allowed that word inside. And then the word change really popped. Oh, look at that. Oh, I love coming back with these and using these inks. So all of that will dry. But that's what you want to do. So with your eyes inks, you can use them to color the pastes. And, you know, any paste you already have, of course, or gesso or anything. And then you can also, once you put them on the tissue paper, come back and spray them. Because all of this are going to be stuff we're putting inside of the journal. So now working on our page, what do we want to do? What do I have that we can get going on? So next week, make sure that your book is all together. I mean, you know, all laid out, ready to go. And then we are going to just keep on doing techniques, but working in both. So let's do this. This word story that I did on this sheet, let's go ahead and just get, let me see. I can put a little bit of, let's just, do that. Oh, look what happened. That is so cool. I'm discovering stuff with you guys. Look how it resisted it and it just made, wow. Oh my goodness. Oh, this looks really good. This is, so the last one we did was the stain, was the sand. But the crazy thing about it is, honestly, all of them are going to have a resist when you just use a little bit of them, like when we cleaned the stencil off. So we got this from cleaning off the stencil, right? So I'm going to get some gold down here. So this little page that could have amounted to nothing is now really cool. And this is going to be, so we're going to put this in our journal, right? And this is how you, oh, I forgot I had that down here. Let's get that. Wow, look at that. So we're going to be working in our journal. And so like all of these, a lot of these pages that you use as cleanup pages, hey, just do this or something similar, and these can go really nicely in your journal to build up from. Okay, wow, that page really came to life, didn't it? Look how that really came to life. Even that little backwards story that I cleaned off, really. I'm crazy about this, my goodness. Okay, so here is our journal page, ready to go. Let me just dry it real quick so that we can go ahead and glue this in. So yeah, as you're getting ready and doing all this with all your little extras, nothing goes to waste. Nothing goes to waste. I don't waste anything in the studio. I'm always just using things. And look, I mean, I made a discovery with you guys right here together. This really was an easy little thing to create. So pull those stencils out. The thing I do like about this texture paste, so if you got one, just get one that you like. Like I like the flaky, I like the one that is crackled. That's a good one. But this was sandy. It's something about these things. It has a really good binder in it. The binder in these paints and this brand, the Aladdin, is amazing. And so even though there was nothing hardly left on this, it still was enough binder to create a resist. Love it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it simple. And I'm going to let me get rid of some of this side, just a little bit of it. I'm just going to glue this down. So this will be what'll go in the journal today. And the journal, I'm sure, is going to be filled with these similar kinds of images for this week, which is okay, right? And we can still come back and paint on top of them, or so I'm gonna glue this down. We can come back and do more collaging on top of them, but look how that is just cool. That makes me happy. Let me get my Giotto glue stick. Here it is. And let me get something to just glue this on. So yeah, as you're playing, I don't have to tell you guys, I know you're off and running. Probably right about now you're ready for me to be done so that you can you can get started, or probably you've already stopped. You probably have already stopped me, gone and got stuff, and then turned me back on. Because I know, like, a lot of times when I'm sitting and looking at somebody do something and it like really hits me, like, oh my God, that's so cool. I can't wait to like start it. So I normally stop the video, get my stuff, and then turn it back on. Right? Okay. Alrighty. I want to get a good amount on here because, you know, we don't want it to be funny bubbling since we're just putting the whole thing down. So don't be afraid to really use your glue stick, you know, and get a good. Okay. So So next week, just have all of your, you know, have gone through a process similar to this one. Whatever you're inspired to do. Pull all your little bits and pieces together, because then we are going to, I like to use the credit card to get this, because then what we're going to do is start working on those pages with our inspiration. So this week's inspiration, of course, was conversations with our younger self. That's going to be the overarching theme for the next few weeks, but we're going to be doing different things to encourage that conversation or to document the conversation, you know, as we move through. Just a little extra glue there. Just wipe it off with the baby wipe. Alrighty. So there we have it. I still have this little bit I can do something with. So I'll let that dry before I cut the edges, but that just looks cool. And then it just reminds you of a technique that you like. So when you're flipping through, you know, your book, you know, whatever, you come up on it and you're like, you know, you remember this technique. And a lot of times I just use my art journal for inspiration. You know, I'm coming into the studio, I want to do something. I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Sometimes I just flip through my art journals and remember a technique that I had done a year ago, 2 years ago, 4 years ago. And I thought, wow, I haven't done that one in a while. Let me do it, you know? So these are designed to be your own personal inspiration. Like, you don't necessarily have to get somebody else's book or somebody else's something or even someone else's video. This becomes your own personal source of inspiration, your art journal, as it should be. And becomes your infinite pool. That's why I call the free course that many of you guys have gone through that leads you into my art mythos, I call it the infinite pool, because that's what it should be. You know, you should just have your own infinite pool of ideas, and one idea sparks the other. Like, I was working with all of these and then just created a whole nother direction. This is a whole different direction to work with these products out of playing with the first ideas I had. So ideas normally generate more ideas. They generate more ideas. And that's kind of where you want to be when you're working. And that's my hope that's coming out of us working together over 52 weeks in this journal. And can you imagine, look how many ideas we already have. My goodness. There's so many ideas already in here. And we are only on week 19, ladies and gents. Yeah. So this is good stuff. Alrighty. Any questions you have, put them in the comments. I know I shot a lot at you today, but I wanted to get you set up for work moving forward in this book structure that we're going to do, which is this one, as we continue to work in our journal, and, you know, considering our prompts and just having fun. So the links for everything are going to be below, and I look to talk to you guys soon, and Gaias. And if you enjoyed the video, please thumb it up. That helps to push it out to other people who may want to find our community and become members of it. I always hear from people, oh my God, where have you been? I'm just coming across you. It's amazing how diverse and how vast YouTube really is, that there can be people out there that have been doing stuff for years and you just come across their videos. I know I do the same thing. So, and then also please join the community. If it's the first time coming across, hit the bell and make sure you hit all so that you get all the notifications. And I guess that's everything. So much love to you all. Fun in your studio this week. Those of you who've joined me on Patreon, you know we always flush the book out, and I always give you guys a little in the beginning of our videos. I've started doing flips now because you guys have asked me to do that. But if you join me on Patreon, we flush out all the other pages and lots of ideas. Lots is going on over there too. If you love books, we do lots with books and journaling over there. So, yep, love to have you. Okay, love you guys. Take care and have a really wonderful week. Bye-bye.